This is Team ContiBreak presenting you with the deck profile of Autumn
Circuit
Champion of the Philippines,
San Victor.
John Victor Carbonell with this Victor deck. Yes, Victor playing Victor and was victorious. So here we go. Go.
Okay, let's start off with the Forerunner. We're using Cabutron because he's because of the new Grade 3 Victor. Instead of relying on Run Bull for standing the back row as well. I can actually double retire, especially on my Tribe Root turn. See you guys. And also going up to the Grade 1 lineup, I run 1 Furious Puncher, 4 Perfect Guards, 4 of the Stride Father, so that I'm not a potato every time I ride a Grade 3 on my first stride, because 2 card strides are very painful. And of course, the king of the Grade 1s, the one that you actually have to keep in your hand, freaking Malyaki, for obvious reasons. When the unit in the front stands, and with the unit in the front stands, it keeps stacking the +4/+4, giving the rear guards more power, especially on your favorite champ turn. Alright, next up is what everyone's asking about, my Grade 2 lineup. I run 3 Severed Tempers, the new Sazanda with a retire, 3 Cool Hanks, 2 Spurt Centaurs, 2 Bare Knuckle Arnest, and 2 Hedgehogs, along with 1 Arboreal. Now, some of you are asking why only 1 Arboreal. I'll get into that later, but let's just get into the deck first. Next up is 4 Extreme Battle Victor, the first Victor back in GBT1, and the one in GBT10. We're only running 3 of that because it's only situational. What? And then next up is the Trigger lineup. Of course, obviously 4 heals, 6 draws. Oh my god, I didn't fix it. 6 draws. 6 draws. Okay, don't forget. Okay, it's Mega Hammer Lady and 2 Totem Brothers. Okay, Mega Hammer Lady and 2 Totem Brothers, and also 4 of the Extreme Battler Big Pass for the Lightning Rod purposes, and also 2 Red Lightning for unflipping and soul charging purposes. Now let's get into the G Zone. My favorite first stride, Meteor Kaiser Tribe Brute. Wait, G Guards come later. 1 GB8 that I've never used, not even once in the tournament.
We'll make sure.
I might change it into another Tribe Root, but who knows? I might actually use it at some point. 2 Victoplasmas. Why I only run 2, I'll answer later. 2 Bustards. Why I only run 2, I'll answer later. 4 Meteor Kaiser Victors. Alright, Meteor Kaiser Victors. Okay, it's kind of slanting, but it's okay. 1 Sea Breeze. 1 Rectome, the FCG guard, the discard to draw. The new Fighters Collection G guard as well, the one that flips it, that puts me into an automatic GB3 for the Fave Champ turn. A Blue Prison and an Unyor. Now okay, so I'll just go to some of the questions people are asking as to why I run Blue Prison and why do I... Oh wait, I forgot Favorite Champ. Of course, I forgot Favorite Champ. I forgot myself. My god. Okay, so the star player Favorite Champ, but I don't really usually win matches with him, but on a long mid game, he's usually the finisher. So going back to why I run Blue Prison, why don't I run Dismal? To answer that question is that it's a waste of a G guard, really, and also it counters Dimension. Yeah, sure, Dismal counters Dimension Police, especially when they're attacking the rear guard. But that's not really my problem. My problem sometimes is surviving to get to my favorite champ turn, because those cards in hand won't matter as long as I get my Malyaki and as long as I can get to my fave champ turn. So having a Dismal is just a waste of a G guard for me.
You have no presence.
Now, as for Arboreal, Now, as for Arboreal, I only run one because he uses Soul, and the only time I actually need to use it is when I am not allowed to use a Cool Hank. Like for what I mean by I'm not allowed to use a Cool Hank is that I don't have a back row. Maybe I'm fighting Link Joker. I just need it for that one lane so that I have another Victor to a baby Victor to withstand one of the rear guards for those multiple combos. Baby Victors. Okay, now let's get to something more controversial as to how the once per turn on Hedgehog works. So as for Hedgehog, okay, let's read it together, people. Okay, so the red text. Oh god, it's
Just search for it.
okay. Just search for it, but you know. Okay, when this unit is placed on the vanguard circle or the rear guard circle, choose one of your rear guards, and until end of turn it gets, when this unit stands due to an effect from one of your cards, draw a card. Choose a card from your damage zone and turn it face up. This ability cannot be used for the rest of that turn. Now, we'll look at the other parts of the combo. We're looking at bare knuckle Arnis. Now, now when we put him when we put him down, okay, let's say we have this lane, okay? When I put this unit down, he has a second skill. When this unit is placed, Soul Blast 1, rest 2 units, and then I get to draw a card. I call Hedgehog here, and then I target Centaur. Now Centaur's skill is that rush ability. When this unit stands due to the effect of your card, you may pay the cost, which is a Soul Blast. The cost is a Soul Blast and a card in the same column as this unit to put into the hand, back into the hand. Now doing this, I trigger 2 things. I trigger Arnis's rush ability and I trigger Hedgehog's. Now once it goes back to my hand, because this unit will stand with bare knuckle Arnis's skill. Retire this unit, stand this unit. So he stands, I get to draw a card due to her skill, and then I get to bounce this unit due to his skill. So I'm still in my main phase, because that is an act skill. The retire this unit to stand, yeah, that is an act skill. So I retire this unit. Yeah. Okay, so I call this unit again during my main phase and then give him a new piece of skill. Now, it's the same logic as having two of him and then calling it at the same time, targeting this one unit. So by that logic, you have 2 skills, but the only problem is that they proc at 2 different separate times. Alright, so now let's go to our Q&A. Okay, so these questions were collected from pages. Alright. Alright, see you, man. Okay, so David Lay or whatever said, I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce your name. David Lee said, Spurt Centaur. Why? Okay, so Spurt Centaur is really good because it's technically a GB1 Sazanda, but the only thing is that it bounces the back row. But the best part about him is that I can just put like a draw trigger or a crit trigger, and when this unit stands, I get to get it back. So I get a boost, I get to poke the Vanguard, and I can get it back.
And he looks cool.
And he looks cool too. Look at him, he's a freaking centaur with a with a freaking blue
Rey Mysterio centaur.
Alright, okay, next question would be
Why Arnes? Because he looks like Ryan. And Arnes Nigel Tober.
Alright. Okay, so next question would be, why did I first try... Okay, Cedric John Chua Lim asked, why did I first try the Fighters Collection during unit in some of my matches and finals? Okay, so my answer to that question is that I don't really have to rush them at the early game on, because obviously when you give your opponent counterblast, they're more capable of killing you. But in my case, I just like killing their units so that he'll need to bring back more units from his hand. Now that takes out some threats for me because my end game and my goal is to actually get to my favorite champ turn. So retiring their units, especially against a Luard or against units that rely on rear guards. This helps me survive to that point and still have hand cards in my hand. Now, why did I decide to play different types of cards to draw, like Porcupine, like the new Street Bouncer and etc.? Okay, so, well, obviously, I already told you guys the combo. Basically, I did all of this so that I can draw things early on. Plus, Arnes's skill, if I'm lacking a unit... Wait, where's Arnes? Arnes's skill, if I'm lacking a unit or a grade 3, I can dig at grade 2. I can dig for units so that I can actually... I can set up my hand for maybe my first stride. Okay, scrolling down.
So that's where you...
Okay. Okay, so I was asked about... Okay, so I was asked about my matches. So I have my matches paper right here, but I'm not gonna say their names unless unless they're actually famous or I have their permission. Okay, so my first game was against Murakumo. This guy was actually a guy that I fought last year in the same event, and he kind of lost by the same reason, because he was grade locked at grade 2. So I got kind of lucky on my first round.
What was your personal standing on the entire tournament?
My personal standing on my first day was 5-2. I won 3 in a row on my first, second, and third round, and then I lost 4th and 5th. So I was actually choking on my 4th and 5th round, so I had to win my last 2 rounds so I can actually get into day 2. Which was very stressful, especially if I was looking to at least get one of these awesome playmats. Okay, now for my round 2. So my round 2 was actually last year's champion, Winchester C. He was using his, of course, his winning clan. He was using Genesis as well. And I didn't realize that it was him until I was trying to figure out what I was gonna say for this video, and then I just looked up his name from my sheet, and then out of nowhere, oh my god, this is actually the champion from last year. So I was like going crazy, guys! I didn't fucking know! Oh wait, I swore. Okay, sorry. Okay, now for my third round, this is the time I actually fought a Nubatama domination deck. But he kind of lost, he kind of got disqualified due to a technicality, because I have him on my front row. I had this guy on my front row, and then he used the new Domination G-Guard, using him to dominate the attack. But the problem with that is that the new Domination G-Guard can only dominate units grade 1 in the back row. So if I didn't call it out, I would have actually lost, because that was my combo. I was already losing because I was already at 4 damage and he was at 2. And my hand was already somewhere around 3. So I got kind of lucky because I saw that mistake, but at least he was a good sport about it, and he was okay with giving me the win. Now for my third round, which is Patrick Spencer Tan, who is actually 3rd place, the new Nectar player. He has an interesting non-Marjuka Neo Nectar deck, and he got the 3rd place, so that was amazing. So he's my 3rd round. I couldn't rush him down because he had this way of he had these units in the field where if it guards, it blooms and then increases the guard, which was something that I never expected. That kind of guard power, and he gets to keep his hand. And then on his final turn, he just hit me with big numbers that I couldn't fight. Now for my second loss, which is on the 4th round, is actually Paulo Ricafort, which is the 2nd place. Was the 2nd place, the Kagura player. Shout out to you, man. So I asked his permission if I could call out his name. So like, he actually beat me on my 4th round, and when we saw each other in the finals, he didn't remember me. He said he didn't remember fighting a Nova Grappler, which was I was like, okay, I'm not gonna talk about that, but yeah. So for my
you sad.
So for my 6th round, I fought what was that clan again? I fought Grand Blue. So I fought Grand Blue on my last round, but he made a lot of misplays that I got to call out in the end. So it was kind of okay, but the misplays just kind of, you know. But he was cool. He was actually really cool. And then the last round is John Michael, is actually a friend of a friend from here in the Boondocks.
Friend of AIDS.
Friend of AIDS, which was an Aqua Force
And
player. Props to him for reaching that far, but I was really desperate for the win, so I actually gave it my all. I don't have my list for my second day. So for my second day first round, I had to fight Angel Feather, which was trying to reach for a GB8 turn. But I rushed him down before he could even find that chance because I can actually use Favorite Champ on the third stride. But I still use the regular combo, the 1 unit here, or a standard here, or a standard here. So that's going to be 4 big attacks. So basically all those that very basic 1 turn kill was enough to get him down. Now as for my second round for second day, it was against my first ZTB encounter because we don't have a ZTB player here. We only have a Gear Chronicle player here, but he hasn't converted to ZTB yet. So it was my first time fighting ZTB. Yeah, sure. Okay, so you have an early game where you call it bind if you bound a
Bind 1 plus 2.
the bind 1 rest a unit if it's a what do you call it again? A Zodiac Time Beast, and then he gets to draw a card. So he called a unit and then he gets a card. So that's pretty cool. Okay, so that was pretty cool. And then on the stride phase, he used Metapulsar. Okay, you guys, you don't need me to tell you guys what they do, but how I fought back. I just did what I could. On the first round, I just did what I could to bait out his heteros. Because the hetero is the only card that interacts during my turn, that fucks up my combo and everything. So I'll always be careful. Okay, so if you guys need tips on fighting hetero, put in a full field, like for reals. Just put in a full field. Anything he heteros, it goes back, and it's still the same. Now, what made me feel like the old Cancer build, the old Gear Chronicle build was better, was because of the cat that gave plus 10k to the Vanguard. Now, because of the only thing that they can do on my turn is take out one of my units, but it's still standing, it doesn't interrupt my my favorite champ turn, and it doesn't require me to reach for those high numbers. Also, when I lose or when I actually count it, I try to bait them out for the hetero on my first stride, because first strides for Victor decks are almost perfectly lethal, especially with a critical.
Also, ZTB didn't have the GBT12 support on the tournament day yet.
Oh yeah, they didn't have GBT12. Yeah.
So no Spearhead Unicorn, no Gear Nex yet, but they still had the sheep and the crossing.
Yeah, the sheep was annoying. Nova Grapplers needs that. Okay, so and then my last round was a Tachikaze. It was a Tachikaze player. So basically, whoever won in that round gets to go to top 8. So he was pretty cool. So he won the first round, best out of 3. I won the second and the third. The second was because to rushing, and the third was because of a Fave Champ turn that he survived, but he didn't have anything to stride with. So I kind of just got lucky that I took his Vanguard at 4 damage and he didn't crit. So I got lucky from there.
And the third.
Now for my top 8. So I got into top 8. I was super excited. I was fine. I just wanted the playmat. The trip to Japan was a bonus. Now, so for my top 8, my first round was a ZTB as well. But he ran. So the difference between him and the first ZTB is that no, there's no Demiurge. There wasn't a Demiurge. The Demiurge, I haven't seen Demiurge played anywhere. Okay, so I was lucky not to fight Link Joker, and I didn't see that much Luards, because I actually prepared my deck to counter Luard, because I can try to retire them on the first stride. Once I choke them on the first stride, they won't get that much draws, won't get that much values, and they're pretty much a potato for the rest of their second and third stride. But for ZTB on the last round, I wanted to bait out everything. I wanted to bait out his heteros. That's always my key plan.
On the top 8.
The ZTB in the top 8, yeah. The CTB in the top 8, my goal was to always bait out the heteros. That's why if I play Vanguard, I explain to them the skills and I tell them what exactly is gonna happen next if you let this unit stay. So the more they let the unit stay, the more I bait out the hetero, and then the less hetero he has, the easier it is for me to win. So I know how much power I get to put into the combo. So now for the top 4 match against the Great Nature. So against the Great Nature, I got sort of lucky on the first match because I got into my fave champ turn. I got into my fave champ turn and then what do you call this? I got into my fave champ turn and realizing that there were more attacks to come. It just ended from there. And then he took the 6 damage. And for round 2, there was a problem with the Grey Belly skill due to the timing. But I lost there anyway due to multiple rushes, a lot of misplays on my side. And for the 3rd round, I won by default because of the grade 2 Grey Belly requiring the big belly as a grade 3.
Yeah, he was also up against our local back-to-back champion, Mr. Jacob Bangama, who did well. He was perfect in the Swiss rounds, and congratulations to him also for winning. And also to those saying about the misplays.
Shut up.
Yeah, he's here sitting. Hey, I'm congratulating you.
No, fuck that. I still lost.
Yeah, fatigue is also a part of the game, so endurance.
No,
The endurance.
The judges are part of the game too. Big belly is not the judges.
Alright, now so for my finals match with the Kagura player. Okay, so my finals match was with Paulo Ricafort, which was my 4th round loss. So this was a very hard match for me because I was always counting the G guards, the Belogs, and
Against Kagero.
I was up against Kagero. That's basically the clan that I should be fearing. But my problem there was that I kept checking his drop zone for grade 3s because I thought I was scared of what do you call that again?
Defeat Flare.
I was scared of Defeat Flare, but he wasn't Overlord, and I realize this now. I was an idiot for actually keeping my favorite champ turn because I thought I would get Defeat Flared.
Defeat Flare needs an Overlord Vanguard.
Okay, yeah.
And Flame Dragons to return from the drop zone, correct me if I'm wrong.
So the first round I lost due to Zoidberg, and then
The Fox Zoidberg.
okay, Zeigenberger. And then the second round, I kind of rushed his hand down to a minimum because, of course, one attack is always 1 card or 2. And then also and then for the last round, I know it's pretty controversial. I was very tired. Misplays were everywhere. Even the judges were tired.
Everyone was tired. Like I said, endurance and fatigue is part. So everyone's just human. People make mistakes. So yeah.
I did not do it on purpose. I'm fully aware of how capable the judges are to call out my loss.
6 to 8 hours in the event. No rest, only slight breaks, slight meals, no long breaks. So yeah, no one was at fault. It was an accident. So yeah. Okay, so yeah. Go ahead. For those people saying that you're lucky you didn't fight against Link Joker, if you faced against Link Joker, what would you do with the strides you currently have, especially with only a pair of Victoplasmas?
Alright, okay, so the pair of Victoplasmas. Now, so the pair of Victoplasmas was strategical because I needed to make room I needed room for the 2 bustards. Now I only run 2 Victoplasmas because I only find a need for 1 Victoplasma turn. The only time I actually use Victoplasma is when I'm not able to use the Fave Champ turn and I really want to see if I can win at a rush. And if I can afford it. Now, why I run only 2 busters? Because I don't want to withstand another withstanding Vanguard. But actually, he is the only first stride that I can use that I can stand 2 units in the rear guard. So knowing this, I can pull off, okay, I'll put an example combo. I'll put this unit here. Let's say I put that unit there.
comment sa Bustard tournament.
Yes. This is my first stride Bustard, and whatever Victor is underneath it. Doesn't matter which Victor, it could be this one, it could be that one, as long as I could pay for the cost. Now, I swing for 9 or I swing for 16, and then I swing for 11, and this withstands, and then gets plus power. Then I swing with this again, so this has plus 5, but I'm not GB2 yet. So plus 5, but I proc the rush ability. So 9 plus 4, 13. 13 plus 5 is 18. So 18 to Vanguard. Swings this guy, stands this. This guy attacks again, putting the rush skill here. Puts this guy to soul, and then attacks with that again. Attacks with this guy again. So that's around 6 to 7 attacks on my first stride. Yeah, 6 to 7 attacks on my first stride.
6 to 7.
6 to 7 attacks.
67.
Lamau. Okay, so yeah, pretty much. Now, if people are asking how often I should rush on the early games, all right. So people ask me how I find the time to rush early. Draw triggers are my only rush factor, especially during on my starting hand. If I have draw triggers in my hand, that's actually a good thing because I'm overvaluing a draw trigger for a card in his hand or 1 damage. Because you can rush a unit with a draw trigger. Some people like to keep the draw trigger in their hand for guarding later, but I actually just use it to attack. And sometimes if I really don't want to take damage, I just use the critical trigger. I only use this guy for a rear guard so that when I swing with this and then it's on their turn, they know how valuable this is to me and they'll attack it. The best part is because they don't think it's worth killing the draw trigger. They don't think it's worth. So I get to attack with this twice and I overvalue with this unit. So that's why this has been my winning move, putting a draw trigger in front of my Forerunner to the side.
And drive checking crit heal and PG.
Yes, which is also part of the game, Alfred.
I call that the Victor trigger.
So after my first stride, I can ensure a Victoplasma turn just because using just so if I use this unit, or I can ensure a favorite champ turn if I use that G guard, the flipping G guard for a GB3 automatic. And also, if I have 2 G guards, even on my first stride, if I ride grade 3 first, I can also do the first stride. Like the first stride for Victor, the Fave Champ. So pretty much that wraps it all up. Thank you so much for watching. If you guys want me to answer more questions, I could just
comment
do it
down
online.
Below.
Comment down below.
In the comment section. This is Team ContiBreak. Like and subscribe. And expect more future Vanguard content. Thank you and see you around.
Alright.
That was tiring. Holy shit.